The KFC T20 Big Bash League is proudly brought to you by KFC's Australian and English burgers. Take the taste test today. So good. Rexona Men. Do more with Australia's #1 deodorant. Sign up at rexona.com.au. Sporting Bet mobile betting. Download the free Sporting Bet app today. And the Sirius Holden Colorado truck that now has MyLink with built-in apps. Get serious. Think Colorado truck. Think Holden.
Tonight, drowned while seeking relief. South Australia's record heatwave turns deadly. Thousands robbed of power as respite refuses to arrive even after dark. A dramatic arrest after a suspected murder in Adelaide's north. And the bat battle as our city's night owls struggle in the heat.
This is 10 Eyewitness News with Rebecca Morse.
Good evening. Adelaide's heatwave has tonight claimed its first life. An elderly woman drowning off the Semaphore South Beach. Reporter Jane Stinson's at the scene. Jane.
Beck, emergency services were called here to Semaphore South Beach earlier this evening. It's unclear how long the 80-year-old woman was in the water, but there were hundreds of beachgoers here at the time. What I can tell you is that a number of them noticed that she was in distress and they dragged her to shore. Off-duty nurses tried in vain to resuscitate her until ambulance officers got here.
When paramedics arrived, we took over from the public and rendered medical assistance to no avail. At this point in time, we'd like to remind all members of the public to be vigilant in looking after fellow beachgoers in this hot weather.
At this stage, paramedics believe she suffered cardiac arrest, but they're not sure whether that happened before or after she got into trouble in the water. Some of the people who tried to save her left the scene shortly after, and police are asking them to come forward. They're preparing a report for the coroner.
Thank you, Jane. And the heat is claiming an alarming number of casualties as admissions to hospitals soar. Brett Clappers joins us from the Royal Adelaide. Brett.
Rebecca, we are now 4 days into this heat wave and now 163 people have been hospitalised across the state for heat-related illness. Now, as we delve deeper into this heat wave, the cumulative effect of this heat will see numbers climb tonight and tomorrow. It's these very hot overnight temperatures that we're experiencing right now that aren't allowing our bodies to recover. Emergency doctors here at the Royal Adelaide Hospital have told me tonight almost all the heat-related cases that they are seeing are for dehydration, including one of them was a woman who collapsed earlier in the city today. Now, a doctor who has worked in this emergency department for 13 years has just told me she's never seen this many heat-related cases.
We've certainly got the elderly people, even the people in nursing homes that are just getting slowly dehydrated. We've got the elderly people that are certainly not wanting to use their air conditioners and trying to save power, unfortunately. Every patient that comes in, we're having to just reassess them more carefully to make sure that the dehydration is not on top of any other presentation that they're having.
Now, that doctor also noted that the figure of 163 patients really only factors in those cases directly related to heat. Many more who are suffering from chronic illnesses are presenting to emergency departments like this, and their condition is being exacerbated by the heat. Rebecca, medics are warning that also do not be fooled by the cool change that is approaching, because the effects of dehydration could take days to present themselves.
Thank you, Brett. And as we go to air tonight, CFS crews are battling more than 20 serious bushfires. The most volatile appears to be at Bangor, north of Port Pirie. A watch and act alert has been issued and residents in that area asked to leave or take shelter. Watch and act or advice alerts also issued for a number of other blazes, including Angara on Eyre Peninsula. Ground crews and water bombing planes used to battle that fire. We're joined now by State Coordinator Yvette Dowling at CFS headquarters. Yvette, what is it about tomorrow's conditions that are causing so much concern?
Basically, the weather conditions we've had gone through a hot spell, and those conditions are going to continue, and the winds are going to be up from now on right through till tonight. It's going to be a very warm night tonight with low relative humidity, and also we've got a band of lightning that's going to come through tomorrow, which is going to cause us some issues like it did earlier on this week.
So do you have the resources to cope through the day tomorrow, or will you be needing help from interstate?
Our resources that haven't been deployed are well rested, and at this stage we will have the appropriate resources. But as a need arises, if we need interstate support, we will make that request.
How are your people holding up on the many fire grounds across the state at the moment?
Obviously it's very hot out there. We are making sure that all of our crews are hydrating well, but it is hot, and we're just making sure that we're appropriate. We can actually rest the crews and get them some shade, but obviously that's a bit difficult at times on the fire ground, but we're doing our best to keep the crews as safe as they can be.
Yeah, they're doing a great job. Thanks, Yvette. The blistering heat has taken South Australia's electricity use to near record levels as air conditioners kicked into overdrive. But many homes and businesses had to suffer through the heat amid thousands of power outages. And as Adam Hegarty reports, rolling blackouts remain a threat if the grid can't cope.
The scorching heat pushed most people indoors, but thousands of power outages meant for many there was no escape.
Bit annoying because you can't have the air conditioner or anything like that, and yeah, there's a bit of a pain, stuff in the fridge going off.
It's very oppressive inside now because there's no movement of air.
About 4,500 power outages were caused mainly by trees falling in the heat, forcing many to find other ways to cool down.
We went out back and we were watering the plants, so we were watering, like kind of spraying it up in the air to keep ourselves cool.
Traffic lights also malfunctioning. Strategic blackouts weren't needed during the day, the grid able to cope with near record energy use. But the threat remains and homeowners will have zero warning.
So it would be fairly instantaneous that we'd have to, or that AEMO would have to make some directions to make sure that we balance the load across the network.
And cause more dramas for businesses too. Some forced to close their doors, others hoping their stock would see it through.
There's a certain amount of time that the freezers can hold on to the stock, but after that it becomes very tragic.
We look after all the nursing homes in the area, and we can't do any of the dispensing for them or the packing or anything because we've got no power.
The whole shop, the ice creams and all, melt down. You can feel the chocolates over there.
And it's not over yet.
There's still the risk of further technical failure working in such difficult operating conditions.
Adam Hegarty, 10 Eyewitness News.
A well-earned rest tonight for countless Adelaide workers forced to toil through the day despite the near-record temperature. No rest either for the teams of international cyclists training for next week's Tour Down Under. Margie McClure with the story.
Escaping the heatwave at the office takes creativity.
But I keep going out in the freezer so I can cool off. So if no one phones me, I'm in the freezer.
Particularly when your workstation is a vat of hot oil.
I don't want to swear on camera. It's too bloody hot, to be honest.
For others, it takes strategy.
Long sleeves are a bit cooler because you're not getting the sun on your skin so much. And if you can see, I've wet it, so the air will blow through it and cool it down. So yeah, it's like an air conditioning.
Adelaide zookeepers also tasked with seeing others through the heat, spraying water mist on their 82-year-old flamingo while dishing out icy fruit treats for the lemurs. Many places in Adelaide also depending on frozen relief.
The little ice machines in the restaurants are not working, so we're sort of supplementing them with ice.
Tradies and construction workers were perhaps the most pitied, but they needn't be, knocking off within hours of starting their day.
So I think it was about 37.2 at about 9:15, so that's hot enough for them to go home.
Adelaide's blistering heat's been taking its toll on our international guests. This cool burst a far cry from back home.
2 weeks ago, I was skiing back home, so it's a little bit hard to get used to this.
And that would be about ice skating right now. So it's quite a big of a change compared to here.
Tour Down Under teams hitting the streets early this morning, cutting training rides short to escape the heat. Margie McClure, 10 Eyewitness News.
The sun's gone down, but the city is still sweltering. Jessica Braithwaite will experience our hottest night of the week tonight.
Yeah, that's right, Beck. We're in for an overnight minimum tonight of 31 degrees, but of course it will remain above that mark for a great deal of the evening. Today we reached a top of 44.2 degrees, so not quite breaking that all-time heat record for Adelaide that everyone's been watching so closely, but still entering the record books all the same, having experienced 3 days in a row with temperatures over 43.5 degrees for the first time. Now, those warm temperatures have lured thousands of people down here to Glenelg tonight, and the temperature is still sitting around the 35-degree mark. But with the sting out of that sun, it's actually making for a very pleasant, balmy night here, much more enjoyable than the heat of the day. And so many people, tourists and locals, have congregated here to soak up the much more relaxing conditions.
It's ridiculously hot, but nice.
Yeah, it's pretty beautiful.
And we've been here since like forever.
Yeah.
I think it's really pretty, but it's very, very hot. Yeah.
It's beautiful. Yeah, we've spent all our time at the beach since we've been here.
It's my first day in Adelaide, and I came in here and it was so hot, but so nice to be in the beach. Yeah, it's lovely.
Now, tomorrow we're being told to prepare for our most dangerous fire day of the week. That's because it's going to be very windy. We'll have that hot temperature top of 42 degrees, and we're expecting lightning across many parts of the state tomorrow, so the CFS on red alert there. But of course, many people simply hanging out for that cool change. It is on the way. It will arrive late tomorrow. And Beck, I'll have all the details just a little bit later on in the bulletin on what's in store.
Are we there yet? Thanks, Jessica. We'll have more local news for you coming up after the break, including heat-stressed trees come crashing down and why there will be more eyes in the skies to keep our coastline safe.